Imagine this: you walk into a room full of people. Some men try too hard to be noticed. They're loud, cracking jokes, exaggerating their stories. Others sink into the background, invisible, waiting for someone to acknowledge them. But then, there's a third type. He doesn't say much. He isn't trying to impress anyone. Yet somehow, heads turn. Women glance twice, not because he demanded attention, but because he carried something most men don't even know they've lost. Silent respect. And here's the uncomfortable truth: you can't fake that. Respect isn't built on the words you throw around. It's carved into you by the way you carry yourself when you don't think anyone is watching. She notices how you stand, how you react when challenged, how easily you give away your time, your attention, your emotions. Every move either confirms your value or exposes your weakness. And the brutal reality: women have an instinct for this. They can sense your energy before you've even spoken. They know if you're desperate, if you're trying too hard, if you secretly don't believe in yourself. You can polish your lines, memorize pickup tricks, build muscles, but if you don't project silent authority, she won't respect you. So what makes her respect you without a word? It starts with the way you withhold. Most men bleed their value out through over-explaining, over-sharing, over-investing. You meet her, and before she's even earned the right to know you, you've already dumped your whole life story on the table, given her your attention 24/7, bent your schedule around hers. You think that's generosity, but to her it's proof you don't have boundaries. Respect dies the moment she realizes she owns your time without earning it. Here's the shift: the man who commands respect doesn't rush to fill silence. He doesn't rush to prove himself. He lets her curiosity build. When she pulls away to test him, he doesn't chase, because he knows his value doesn't collapse just because one woman hesitates. That's what terrifies her in the best way. Your calmness under pressure forces her to lean in. Picture this: she ignores your text for hours. Most men panic. They double text. They explain themselves. They try to win her back. But the man she respects, he doesn't flinch. He's already busy. He lets the silence expose her move for what it is: a test of control. When she finally reaches back, and he responds with the same unshaken energy he had before, she realizes she can't bend him. That's when respect hardens into attraction. Strategically, this means you need to train yourself to stop bleeding urgency. If she pulls away, you don't lean forward. If she questions your choices, you don't explain endlessly, you state it once and leave it there. If she tries to lure you into drama, you don't take the bait, because the moment she sees you break your frame, you've taught her you're a man who can be swayed. But when you hold steady, even when it costs you her approval, you communicate something far deeper than words: I respect myself more than I need you to respect me. And ironically, that's when she gives you the respect you stopped begging for. This isn't about coldness. It's not about arrogance. It's about discipline. Women respect the man who doesn't hand over his attention for free. They respect the man whose silence isn't awkward, but charged. They respect the man who chooses his words carefully, not because he's afraid, but because he knows the weight they carry. Every second you spend proving yourself, you're losing her respect. Every second you spend simply existing in your frame, you're building it. Think back. How many times have you killed respect by talking too much, apologizing too much, explaining too much? How many times have you caught yourself trying to convince her to see your worth instead of letting her discover it through your actions? The respect you want doesn't come from convincing. It comes from restraint. It comes from being willing to walk away, from refusing to collapse just because she threatens to withdraw. Have you ever noticed how women look twice at the man who doesn't even look at them first? It's not that he's ignoring them, it's that his world isn't revolving around their reaction. That independence is magnetic. Because deep down, women don't want a man who makes them his oxygen. They want a man who breathes fine without them. And the cruel paradox, the more you try to earn respect, the less you get it. The more you let it come naturally through discipline, the more it clings to you. So the next time you feel that itch to prove, to explain, to chase stop, sit in the silence, hold your frame, let her test bounce off you like it means nothing, and watch how quickly her respect begins to surface. Not because you demanded it, but because you showed her you can't be moved. Have you ever recognized yourself in this exact situation, over-explaining, chasing, or losing respect without realizing it? Which one of these mistakes have you made most often? What's the hardest part for you staying silent? Or walking away when she pulls back? Respect without words doesn't come from grand gestures. It comes from the small, invisible choices you make every single day. Women notice those details, and they notice faster than you think. They notice how you react when the waiter messes up your order. Do you get flustered, passive, apologizing for even wanting it fixed? Or do you calmly, firmly correct it without making a scene? One version tells her you lack backbone. The other tells her you know how to lead without raising your voice. Respect lives in those subtle signals. The biggest mistake men make is believing that respect comes from intensity, from showing more, from trying harder. You try to impress her with your achievements, your money, your possessions, but if those things are your only foundation, she can smell the insecurity underneath. Because here's the truth, a man who's grounded doesn't need to flash what he has, he embodies it. He carries his discipline in the way he sits, in the way he doesn't overreact, in the way his eyes don't dart around looking for approval. That's why women respect the man who can say no. Most men can't. They're so afraid of losing her that they bend, compromise, and trade away their standards just to keep her comfortable. You know what that does. It kills her respect faster than anything. She might still use you. She might still enjoy your attention. But inside, she sees you as disposable. A man who says yes to everything teaches her that nothing about him is non-negotiable. But the man who can calmly say no, without rage, without apology, commands respect even when she hates it in the moment. You've probably been there. She asks for something small, and you give it. Then she asks for more, and you give it again. Slowly, she pushes further, not always because she needs it, but because she's testing if there's a line. And most men don't have one. They break their routines, cancel their plans, sacrifice their priorities. Then one day, she wakes up and doesn't respect him anymore. Not because he failed her, but because he failed himself. You break that cycle by holding ground. When she asks for something unreasonable, you don't cave just to keep her happy. You calmly decline. You show her that your standards are stronger than her emotions. That's when something shifts in her. She might pout, she might test. But deep down, she feels safer around a man who won't collapse. Because respect is born from certainty, and certainty is born from boundaries. Another overlooked signal is your reaction to disrespect. Every man will face it. Maybe she mocks you in front of her friends. Maybe she throws a sarcastic jab. Maybe she dismisses your opinion. Weak men laugh it off, hoping not to make it awkward. Strong men don't tolerate it. Not by shouting, not by exploding, but by drawing a line. You look her in the eye, and with calm firmness, you let her know it won't happen again. That moment defines everything. If you let it slide, she'll never see you the same way. If you stand up calmly, she may resist, but secretly, she'll respect you more. This is why restraint matters. Not reacting to every provocation, not fighting every battle, but choosing your battles with precision. Respect doesn't come from being aggressive, it comes from being immovable where it matters most. She'll try to knock you off balance, not always consciously, but because her instincts need to know, can this man hold his frame? Or does he fall apart under pressure? When you stay calm, collected, and unshaken, she gets her answer strategically. This means you need to practice indifference to small provocations. If she's late by a few minutes, don't make it an issue, but don't reward it either. If she tries to bait you into an argument, stay calm and don't engage. If she withholds attention to manipulate you, don't react with desperation. You show her that your emotions aren't a toy she can pull around. That control is what builds the invisible wall of respect around you. Think about it. When was the last time you lost respect because you reacted too strongly, or because you didn't react at all? How often have you ignored your own boundaries just to keep her happy? How many times did you laugh off disrespect when you knew it burned inside you? Every one of those moments was a small surrender, and each surrender cost you respect. But here's the good news. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Every time you choose calm firmness over panic, every time you prioritize your standards over her tests, every time you refuse to collapse under pressure, you reclaim respect. You don't announce it, you don't demand it, you embody it. Have you ever noticed how quickly her behavior shifts when you stop chasing? Have you ever watched a woman test your patience, only to soften the moment she realizes you won't budge? What's the hardest part for you, saying no, confronting disrespect, or holding steady when she tests your frame? Respect is fragile. It's not something she declares one day and guarantees forever. It's constantly being tested, sometimes in ways you don't even notice. Every interaction is a measurement. Does this man hold himself steady, or does he bend? And here's what most men never grasp. She respects you in the moments you think don't matter. Picture this, you're out with her at a bar. Another guy bumps into you, maybe tries to push past you, maybe even throws a slick comment her way. Weak men respond in one of two ways. Either they puff up, overreact, and make a scene just to prove they're tough, or they shrink, avoid eye contact, laugh it off, and pretend it didn't happen. Both reactions kill respect. The first shows insecurity, the second shows fear. The man she respects doesn't overplay it. He doesn't need to bark or flex. He simply stands his ground, locks eyes once, and lets his calm presence say everything. No yelling, no panic, just certainty. That's the man she feels safe around, because here's the core truth. Respect is tied to safety. A woman can't truly respect you if she doesn't feel you're solid. If your emotions swing wildly, if your decisions flip the moment she pressures you, if your attention scatters whenever she withholds hers, she doesn't feel safe leaning into you. She doesn't feel that unshakable ground. Respect is born when she realizes nothing she does can shake your center. But let's talk about one of the most common traps her withdrawal. Every man has faced it. She goes cold, pulls away, stops texting back with the same warmth, and instantly, panic sets in. Most men double down. They send longer messages. They try to fix what's wrong. They ask if she's upset. They bleed their value into the silence, thinking effort will win her back. It never does. All it does is confirm she controls your state, that she can pull one string and you'll dance. And once she sees that, the respect is gone. The man she respects doesn't chase that withdrawal. He lets it play out. He keeps moving, keeps his focus, doesn't scramble to repair something that may not even be broken. His calm indifference forces her to realize she doesn't own him, And that's where the respect grows back. Because the truth is, withdrawal is almost always a test. Sometimes conscious, sometimes subconscious. But it's always measuring. Does he collapse without my attention? If the answer is yes, you've already lost. If the answer is no, she starts to see you differently. And here's another overlooked signal how you treat yourself when she's not around. She respects the man who's disciplined even in private. The man who doesn't let himself slide, who trains, who stays sharp, who builds his mission whether she's in his life or not. Because women notice when your entire existence depends on them. They notice when you let yourself go the moment you get comfortable. Respect fades when she feels you're motivated only by her approval. It hardens when she sees you have standards for yourself that are higher than anything she could impose. Strategically, this means you need to stop monitoring her reactions and start monitoring your own. If she pulls back, don't mirror panic. If she gives you attitude, don't swing into defense. If she withholds intimacy, don't beg or negotiate. Your only job is to remain steady, to keep your time valuable, your purpose intact, your emotions in check. That's how respect grows silently. Think back to your past. How many times did you lose respect because you made her the center of your decisions? How many times did you make her moods your moods? How many times did you let her withdrawal dictate your worth? Every one of those moments taught her you were reactive, not grounded. And the hard truth is reactive men don't earn long-term respect. But here's the shift when you stop needing her reactions as proof of your value. You become untouchable when she withdraws and you stay steady, when she tests and you don't flinch, when she tries to rattle you and you don't break suddenly. She sees you as rare. Because most men crumble. Most men sell themselves for a drop of approval. You don't. And that's what sets you apart. So let me ask you, have you ever noticed how quickly respect dies when you chase after her silence? Have you ever watched yourself lose ground because you tried too hard to fix her mood? And what would change in your life if you finally stopped reacting and started holding steady, no matter what she did? There's a moment every man remembers, the moment he realizes she doesn't look at him the same way anymore. Her tone shifts. Her eyes scan past him instead of into him. She laughs at other people's jokes a little harder, but with him she goes quiet. And here's what cuts the deepest: she doesn't have to say a word. You just feel it. That invisible thread of respect has snapped. And once it's gone, every attempt to win it back through words only makes it worse. This is why respect isn't something you chase, it's something you protect. You protect it in every small decision. You protect it in how you handle tension. You protect it in whether you give your presence away cheaply or guard it like it's rare. The moment you start scrambling to prove yourself, you teach her the one thing she can never unsee, that you value her opinion more than you value your own standard. And the man who does that will never be respected. Let's strip this down to the raw mechanics. Women test because they need to know. They need to know if your calm is real, or if it's a mask. They need to know if you'll fold when pressured, or if you'll stand tall even when it costs you her approval. Every test is a subconscious question. Can I trust his strength? And here's the brutal reality: respect only grows when the answer is yes. Take an example. She tells you she doesn't like how much time you spend on your passion, your training, your work, your craft. Most men crumble. They cut back. They rearrange. They downplay what matters to them just to avoid conflict. They think they're showing love, but what they're really showing is weakness. Because the man who ditches his mission for a woman has nothing left that makes him worth respecting. Now imagine the opposite. She complains. She pushes, she tests, and you don't fight, you don't argue, you simply keep doing what you do. You let your consistency speak louder than her resistance. Eventually, she has two choices: respect it or leave. Either way, you've preserved your frame, And that's what women respect: the man who doesn't negotiate his purpose. But respect isn't just about standing ground, it's also about restraint. The man who erupts, who yells, who lashes out to prove his strength, destroys his respect faster than the man who avoids all conflict, because both are extreme reactions. One shows you're ruled by fear, the other shows you're ruled by rage. The man who commands respect doesn't need either. His strength is quiet, unshaken, measured. He's the eye of the storm while everyone else is spinning. And here's a subtle truth most men miss. Women don't just test you directly. They watch how you deal with the world. They watch how you treat the server, how you react to unfairness, how you handle rejection outside of them. Because if you can't command respect from life, how can you expect her to respect you? If you fold under pressure from strangers, she knows you'll fold under pressure from her. If you let the world walk over you, she knows she can too. Strategically, this means you need to train respect into your daily behavior, not just with women, with everyone, with yourself. Set standards and enforce them, calmly and consistently. If you say you'll be somewhere at a certain time, be there. If you say you're working on a project, finish it. If you say you won't tolerate something, don't tolerate it. Because every time you let yourself slip, you send the message that your word is flexible, and the man whose word is flexible is the man no one respects. Think back, how many times did you lose respect because your actions didn't match your words? How many times did you say you wouldn't tolerate something, then let it slide? How many times did you promise yourself you'd stay disciplined, only to quit when it got uncomfortable? Every one of those cracks is visible, even if you think she doesn't see it. Trust me, she does. Women are hypersensitive to congruence. They know when you're out of alignment. So here's the cold truth. Respect doesn't come from what you tell her. It comes from what she sees when you think she's not looking. It comes from how consistent you are when no one's applauding. It comes from the standards you enforce when it costs you approval. That's what makes her look at you differently. That's what makes her fall silent, not out of boredom, but out of recognition that she's standing in the presence of a man she cannot bend. Now I'll ask you directly, have you ever watched a woman's respect for you vanish the moment you bent your standards for her? Have you ever promised yourself you wouldn't fold again, only to catch yourself doing it anyway? And what would it mean for your life if you finally enforced your standards, no matter who tried to break them? Respect is quiet, but it's heavy. You don't hear it, you feel it. And when a woman truly respects you, you notice it in the smallest shifts. She speaks softer around you. She listens more intently. She measures her words because she knows your presence carries weight. That weight isn't built from charm or cleverness. It's built from the invisible discipline of a man who refuses to betray himself. And here's the paradox: the moment you start trying to make her respect you, you've already lost it. Because respect is never negotiated. It's never begged for. It's never explained into existence. Respect is a reflection of how you live. If you live by your own code, without bending, without compromise, respect follows naturally. If you betray your code just to keep her happy, she may smile, she may stay, but deep down, she no longer respects you. And without respect, love eventually rots. Let's talk about attraction versus respect. A woman can be attracted to you without respecting you. That's the trap most men fall into. She might laugh at your jokes, enjoy your company, even sleep with you. But attraction without respect is temporary. It burns fast, then burns out. Respect is what sustains her long-term investment. It's what makes her careful not to lose you. Attraction makes her want you. Respect makes her value you. Without both, you'll always end up disposable. Think about how many men you've seen lose respect slowly without noticing. He starts dating her and, at first, she admires him. He's confident, disciplined, focused. Then slowly, he starts compromising. He skips the gym more often because she wants to stay in. He gives up his focus to spend more time catering to her moods. He stops standing on his principles, laughing off her disrespect to keep the peace. On the surface, it looks like love. Underneath, it's erosion. And by the time he realizes it, she's already checked out. The man she respects doesn't collapse like that. He doesn't abandon his foundation. If she disrespects him, he doesn't yell, but he doesn't tolerate it either. He lets his silence speak, or he removes himself completely. If she tries to pull him away from his mission, he doesn't argue, he simply continues forward. If she tests his patience, he doesn't flinch, he stays steady. That consistency is what locks respect in place. And this is the hardest part. Sometimes protecting respect means walking away. Because the ultimate act of self-respect is refusing to stay where you aren't respected. Most men cling to women who treat them poorly because they're addicted to her presence. They tell themselves she'll change, but she won't. Because the second she realized she could disrespect you without consequence, she stopped seeing you as a man she must value. Every time you stayed after that, you confirmed her judgment. Strategically, this means you need to practice the art of decisive detachment. If she mocks you in public, you don't explain, you leave. If she withdraws affection to control you, you don't chase, you match her indifference. If she consistently disrespects your standards, you don't negotiate, you end it. Not out of anger, but out of discipline. Because the man who stays where respect is absent will always end up hollow. And here's the revelation most men avoid. She doesn't break you by disrespecting you. She reveals what you were too afraid to protect. If you respect yourself, her disrespect doesn't last, it bounces off, because you enforce your boundaries. If you don't respect yourself, her disrespect becomes your prison. The choice has always been yours. So what makes women respect you without a word? It's not money, it's not looks, it's not clever lines, it's your frame, it's your ability to hold steady under pressure. It's your discipline to say no when it matters. It's your refusal to betray your own code just to keep her approval. It's your willingness to walk away from anything that threatens your self-respect. That's the weight she feels when she looks at you. That's the silence she honors. Now the question turns to you. How many times have you stayed too long in a place where respect was already dead? How many times have you betrayed your own code just to keep a woman by your side? And what would your life look like if you finally decided that your self-respect was the line that could never be crossed? She didn't break you. She revealed what you were too afraid to protect.